Please be seated. Trust you all had an opportunity to rest well last night. We're ready for today. Good. Record should reflect we're here on the matter involving James Worley, case number 16 CR 106. This is day 2. Defendant is present with his counsel. State is present. Case is still with the state of Ohio. Mr. Hazelman.
The state was called Scott Hudak.
Good, sir. Once you get seated, please pull that microphone right in front of your face so we can hear your testimony. Thank you. Mr. Hazelman?
Sir, could you please, good morning, first of all. Could you please state your name for the record and spell it, please?
Scott Hudak, Scotthudik.
Okay. And sir, are you a member of law enforcement?
No.
Okay, what do you do for a living?
I work for the state of Ohio, ODOT.
You're not worker? Okay. Sir, did you know Sierra?
I remember when she was little.
Okay.
At the softball game.
Do you know members of her family?
Yes.
Who do you know?
Matt and Sheila. And Pete.
Okay, so by Matt, you mean Matt Baculate, her
Yes.
stepfather?
Yes.
Okay, how would you describe your relationship with Matt? Were you
Matt
friends?
pretty good. I know Matt better than all of them.
Okay.
Played a lot of softball with him.
Okay, did you do other things with Mr. Baculate?
We golfed once in a while, not a whole lot.
Okay. And sir, do you live in the like better term, the Metamora area?
Yes, right outside Berkey.
Outside Berkeley, okay. And sir, did you become involved in the search for Sierra?
Thursday, yes. I signed up.
Okay. And when you say signed up, do you mean to be a volunteer searcher?
Yes.
Okay. So when you signed up on the 21st to be a volunteer searcher, where did you report to?
The Matamore Fire Station.
Metamora Fire Station. And so you arrived, was there a lot of people there? Or?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people.
So how did you kind of get organized?
Well, when you went in, you took your picture, you signed in, then you just stood around, and you went around and they handpicked Group 1. And I was part of Group 1, and that was a group that was going to go back to the abduction site and start their search.
Okay. And did you essentially, this group of people go out on their own, or were law enforcement agents?
Law enforcement was heading it up. They told us specifically what to do and not to do.
Okay. And was a specific law enforcement agent assigned to your group when you went out to search?
There was an individual.
An individual?
Miss Officer Waxler.
Officer Waxler. What are some of the instructions you received?
Well, when we started searching, not to spit, not to go to the bathroom, whatever you take in, water bottle, wrappers, make sure you bring them out with you.
Okay. What were you told not to do?
Well, basically that.
Okay. What if you found something? What were you supposed to do?
Get a hold of him.
Okay. Were you supposed to touch it in any way?
No, absolutely not.
And to get a hold of Officer Waxler, did he give you some contact information?
Yeah, his number was up on the board when we signed in, so I programmed it in my phone.
Okay. So if you'd be so kind, I'm going to have you just come down and take a look at what's been marked as State's Exhibit 14. So when you said you kind of went back to the area of conducting the search with your group and Officer Waxler on the 21st, can you just point to the area where you and your group would have gone? This is County Road 6, north of County Road T, and south of State Route 120.
Sure, we did this Cornfield first.
On the left-hand side of County Road 6? Okay.
And when we got done with that, we moved over to the Speedfield.
The next one farther west? Okay.
Then we went through the woods to the north.
Okay.
Then the thing and
Okay, please have a seat. So you were essentially with Officer Waxler. The cornfield on the left-hand side of County Road 6, north of County Road T, the bean field to the left of that, and then the wood to the north of the bean field.
Correct.
And then you said storms came?
Yes.
Approximately how long had you been searching with the group before the storms came?
Well, 4 or 5 hours.
Okay. Okay, after that first day, did you have any more involvement in searching for Sierra?
Friday.
Friday the 22nd?
Yes, I took off work.
And did you report back to the Metamora Fire Station, or what did you do? Explain to the jury, if you will.
No, I decided to go out on my own. Got up in the morning and took off and started searching.
And when you say searching, were you walking through fields, or how were you doing
No, I
it?
was driving real slow along the road looking for any disturbance in the grass, corn, beans, any pull-offs. If I seen a vehicle marks pulled off in the grass, I'd stop and get out. And did that for, until about 10 o'clock.
Okay. And sir, do you recall which roads you would have searched on?
Yes, I started on County Road 7, off of off of 120. Started heading south, and I came up this North 20, and I jogged over to County Road 7-2 and head south. And when I got to K, it makes a jog, so I jogged over to 7 and kept going south. And
During your search, did you meet anyone else who was out searching?
yes, Matt Cargill was doing the same thing.
Okay, he's a gentleman you knew. Where did you meet Mr. Cargill?
I've known Matt for quite a while.
Okay, I mean, where did you meet him?
Oh,
that
the
day?
first time we met it was right before North 20 on 7.
Okay.
So we got out and we talked. And he was doing the same thing, so we were just saying we're going to look in every ditch, culvert, anything that we saw out of the ordinary, we'd stop and look. So then when I jogged over to 7-2, we met again on 7-2 and N. So we got out and talked again. And that's when I suggested to Matt, since he was facing to the west, that he take all the east-west roads. I was facing south, so I'd do all the north-south roads. And we do the block from North 20 to Airport, from 109 to 64, and cover every road.
Okay. And as you're traveling, so did you come to be located on County Road 7 between J and K?
Yes.
Your Honor, if you would please read stipulation 13.
Exhibit 13 is an aerial view of County Road 7 between County Road J and County Road K in Fulton County, Ohio.
Sir, when you came to be on County Road 7 between County Roads J and K, were you headed south or were you headed north?
I was heading south.
Okay. And so you're headed south from K towards J, right?
Yes.
If my alphabet is correct. So just describe to the jury what you were doing and what you saw.
Well, I was just probably driving 5 miles an hour and was looking on both sides of the road, looking for anything that was out of the ordinary. Grass that was bent over, beans that were bent over, and if corn happened to be bent over. Then when I got up to that cornfield, I noticed something different, like there was something out of place. So I stopped, got out, walked over to the cornfield.
Let's stop you right there. So if you would come over, sir, to Exhibit 13, and you said you were headed south, and you said you saw something out of the ordinary in a cornfield. Which corner is this?
Okay, Mr. Hudak, if you could speak very loudly so that my court reporter can hear you, okay? Thank you so much.
You were pointing at the south, what we call the southwestern field of this, the southeastern field of this 4-field grouping? Yes. Okay. This cornfield right here. Okay. So if you would just mark just put right cornfield on that eastern cornfield where you saw it. And so is that your cornfield? Is that the general area where you saw the disturbed corn? Okay. So Your Honor, for purposes of the record, on State Exhibit 13, Mr. Hudak has written the word cornfield in the cornfield where he saw, and in the area where he saw corn on a plate. If you return it. Yeah. So you see something amiss in the cornfield on the southeastern side of the road. So you stopped. Did you stop your vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, what did you do then?
Got out and walked over to the cornfield to search. And I seen the corn was, there's part of it that was knocked down.
Okay.
So then I looked in, because the corn was real thin right there. The first few rows were pretty thick, but as you went in farther, it got pretty thin. And I saw drag marks in the dirt.
Okay. Did you notice anything else while you were in the cornfield at that time?
As I followed the drag marks, I stayed off the drag marks, walked to the side, walked to the side, and I probably got in there about 20, 25 yards, and I noticed dirt was, somebody took a shovel, dug a hole, and reburied it. Okay. And there's corn knocked down farther in to the right of the hole.
Okay. Okay. So you see that. What did you do at that point after seeing those items?
I went back out, called Matt Cargill, asked him to come over, and I called Officer Waxler.
Okay. You contacted Officer Waxler?
Waxler, yes.
Okay. Did you notice anything else at the scene when you were there?
After I called Officer Waxler, he said just text him the location.
Okay.
So I did. Now I was standing there waiting for Matt Cargill to come. I noticed a latex glove in between the road and the cornfield in the grass.
Okay.
So then I texted Officer again and told him about that.
Would you, sir, come back to Exhibit 13? And just write a G on the map where, in the general vicinity of where you saw that glove. So essentially in the area between the roadway and the field and the grass? Okay. Your Honor, for the record, Mr. Hudak put a G where he saw the glove on Exhibit 13. So you're there, you see these things, you contacted law enforcement. What happened at that point?
We just sat and waited.
Okay.
Then Mr. Waxler, or Officer Waxler, said we didn't have to stay there. So we left for a little while, then came back, and the FBI agents were there then.
Okay. So did you touch the glove in any way?
No.
Sir, back in July 2016, before that date, did you know the defendant in any way?
No.
And, sir, I have to ask, did you have anything to do with Sierra's disappearance or death?
No.
One moment, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
Got a second, Your Honor.
Mr. Depp.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, I just have a few questions. I'd like to approach the map with the witness, Your Honor.
Sure.
Thank you. Sir, could I ask you to leave the seat and just come on here? Now, what side of the road was where you saw the disturbance in the ground, where you saw what you believe to be dirt dug up and then reburied? Go ahead.
Then the cornfield on east side of the road, on the east side of 7.
It was on the east side of 7?
Yes.
Okay. Did you go in any way on the west side of 7?
No.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Any rebuttal?
Oh, thank you.
And, sir, you said surgical glove. Do you remember the color?
There's a clear, like a yellowish latex glove.
It was regular latex glove?
Yeah.
And how wide were the drag marks?
I would have to say 1.5 foot.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Any recross?
No request.
Thank you. Your excuse. Thank you, sir. Next witness, Mr. Hazelman.
The state would call Deputy Sergeant Steve Waxler. So for the record, Your Honor, Mr. Hudak is not expected to be called by the state.
Mr. Hudak, if you have no further need of this witness, Mr. Depp?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Hudak, if you'd like to remain in the courtroom, you may do so. Sergeant, if you would, please come face the bailiff and be sworn.
Yes, sir.
Shall
Sergeant, if you would, please pull the microphone directly in front of your mouth so we can hear your testimony. Thank you. Mr. Hazelman?
Sir, good morning.
Morning.
Could you please state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Stephen Waxler Jr., W-A-X-L-E-R.
So you're here in the uniform from the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. How long have you been with Fulton County Sheriff's Department?
Since August 31st of 2000.
Were you involved in law enforcement before that date?
In the police academy.
Police Academy, okay. Sir, back on July 19, 2016, were you working for the Fulton County Sheriff's Department?
Yes, sir.
What were your duties at that time?
Undercover Narcotics, assigned to the Multi-Area Narcotics Task Force.
Okay. And describe for the jury just what the man unit is. Is that what's commonly called the man unit?
Yes. Multi-Area Narcotics. Typically, we would work narcotics investigations. We would also assist any of our home agencies, comprises 6 counties, Northwest Ohio, Sheriff's Office and police departments. We would also assist at the request of any home agency with any other case.
And sir, did you become involved in the search for Sierra jogging?
Yes, sir.
And since the man unit, as you indicated, was this one of the situations where when manpower is needed, the man unit shows up?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall when you were first contacted yourself about we may have need of your assistance in this matter?
I was advised by, at the time, it was Lieutenant Offsinger, who at the time was transitioning to commander of the drug task force. There was a transition where it's now Sheriff Engel was the commander, Sheriff Engel was going to be the sheriff, and Commander Offsinger was making the transition. He'd contacted us by phone and advised that we may be needed in the Evergreen area for a missing person.
And did you become involved in the search, would have been on the 20th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall what time of day you would become involved?
It would have been morning.
Okay. Do you recall on the 20th kind of what your duties would have been? What have you done that day?
Initially, we were told to stand by, and then we got the message to go directly to Evergreen School to be briefed. Okay. Once I responded to Evergreen parking lot, I was told to pair up and with other agents from other task force and basically canvass the area.
Let me show you on exhibit. I'll show you exhibit 14, sir. If you just come off the stand, if you can kind of.
Sure.
So you're at Evergreen High School, and let me grab my pen.
Sergeant, please make sure you speak up during this time period.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So this is County Road 6, sir. And you said you reported to Evergreen High School?
Yes.
And are you familiar with how the layout of the county being a deputy?
Yes.
Okay. Could you just take this black pen and on exhibit 14, write EHS, where you see Evergreen High School. This is County Road 6 as you head north. This is the area of T.
Right here would be Evergreen High School.
Okay, just write EHS there. You'll be some kind of stuff.
Over it?
Right over it. Sorry. And you said that was the area that was being used as the command center.
Yes.
Okay, you said you got broken up into pairs. Can you just describe that on the 20th? The general area, you and your partner, whoever that was, what area did you canvass?
North of Evergreen High School, towards County Road T as in Tom. We were going through these residents here, shown on the map.
And did you do any other roads that day?
To my knowledge, from what I recall, we were primarily on County Road 6. There may have been a house on the corner of, I believe it would be 6 and T at the corner, so T is in Tom and County Road 6.
Okay. If you have a seat. So on the 21st, were you involved in organizing search teams?
Yes, sir.
Describe to the jury, if you would, where that occurred and generally how that was done.
I was advised to accompany Commander Knopfsinger to Metamora Fire Department on that date. Our intention was to work with volunteers, work with the public, and anybody else that wanted to help canvass the area. We went to Metamora Fire Department where we had a briefing, so to speak, and we split up into groups and just allowed the public to assist us with the search.
Okay. Before going out, do you recall how many people were in your search group?
I believe there was 15.
And was Scott Hudak assigned to your group, if you recall?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And before you went out, what type of instructions were given to these volunteer searchers?
No smoking, no chewing, no taking pictures with your cell phone or camera if you had one. I know my group, I gave everybody in my group my direct cell phone number. I had a work phone at the time that was specifically for work purposes. They were instructed if they found anything to stop, let myself or the closest agent, whoever, know. I explained to them how imperative it would be to not disturb or contaminate any evidence.
So essentially, don't touch anything.
Yes, sir.
So I'd like to just go back to Exhibit 14, if you would, for a moment.
Yes.
And describe for the jury the areas that you and your group of 15 people searched on the 21st.
We would have been primarily we would have been on County Road 6 on the west side of the road between County Road S as in Sam and T as in Tom. We worked over this ditch line. We did cross this ditch and we wound up, I believe we were initially picked up on 120, on the corner of 120.
Sir, would you just take this black pen and on Exhibit 14, just draw an arrow through the fields which you and your search group, the areas you and your search group worked on the 21st, the general area.
General area would be County Road 6 on the west side, and then from there we went up to 120. We were actually picked up on 120, I believe, at this residence here by Mr. Thomas Hurd.
Okay. So you've drawn an arrow, a black arrow facing west between County Road S and Sam and T and Tom, and then an arrow essentially in the purple box on the west side of 6 going to the northwest.
Yes, and from this point, at one point, we actually did go south on Road S.
All right, if you just draw where you went south on the map set. Thank you. Okay. Do you recall approximately how many groups, if you were out with a group, how many groups were out searching at this point? If you recall.
I don't recall. I'm going to say maybe 4, 5. I know there were a lot of people, a lot of volunteers that maybe didn't even participate in the search, but they assisted maybe with providing water and things like that.
Sir, later that day, were you called to were you told to report to the defendant's residence on County Road 6?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. When you reported to his residence, what did you understand your role was going to be when you arrived?
Initially, I was told to go there and wait.
Okay.
Wait for further instructions.
And did you eventually get further instructions?
Yes, sir, I did.
And essentially, is it accurate to say that a search was conducted of these particular premises?
Yes.
When you arrived at the scene, was there unfettered access to the property, or was it being restricted at that point?
It was being restricted at that point. One of the first things that I was told upon arrival was nobody's going to occupy that property until they sign in. It was very organized.
Was it even possible to pull in the driveway?
No.
And why is that?
There were agents at the driveway.
Okay. And eventually, did you sign in and go inside the property to assist in the search?
Yes, sir.
And how many search warrants have you been involved in executing of your career, roughly?
Understand with the narcotics unit, we served a lot of search warrants, hundreds.
And which particular area of the Worley property, as shown on Exhibit 11, were you involved with searching?
The portion of the barn that's marked N and B, I would imagine that's for North Barn. That was where my initial attention was directed once I signed in.
Okay. And in the North Barn, what was your role supposed to be?
The crime scene agents requested manpower to remove bales that was being contained in the north portion of the barn. That was where I was requested to assist with manpower with removing the bales, extracting them from that portion of the barn.
And as you entered the North Barn, did you notice, when you walked in, what did you notice? Did anything catch your attention?
I noticed that at some point the door had been forced open. I noticed that the windows were blacked out. I noticed portions of the barn had spray foam on it. It just looked like it'd been made to where nobody could see in or out.
Do you recall whether, you said the door had been open, did that door have a lock on it? Do you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. And so you were essentially, for lack of a better term, the muscle. You helped remove the straw bales. That was your general purpose?
Yes, sir.
And the items, anything of evidentiary interest would be picked up by the crime scene agent with BCI?
On the bales themselves?
If there was something to be collected, that was collected by a BCI agent rather than yourself. Would that be accurate?
Yes, sir.
When you walked into the barn, did you notice a green chicken wire crate?
Yes, sir.
Were you involved in moving that out of the barn, or did somebody else move that out of the barn, if you recall?
I believe somebody else moved that out of the barn.
Were you involved in searching any other area of the property?
Yes.
And where would you have been involved in searching?
Which time? There were...
Let's just do them in order. If you were first at the North Barn, where did you search next?
Once the north portion of the barn was done,
Yes.
got some water. It was hot that day. And stood by for further instructions. Like I said, it was very organized. Once the crime scene people had done their thing, I was requested to, walk around the property. We went to the single wide trailer. I did a walkthrough search of that. From what I understand, what I recall, there was nothing of interest that I was made aware of there.
Could you, sir, if you would come down and just on the trailer, where you said the white trailer, put the initials PR for the record on Exhibit 14, Exhibit 11. TR for trailer. Yes, sir. All right, so if you come back over here, so you searched the trailer, you walked through the trailer, and then you said you waited further instructions, and then what did you do?
Well, waited for further instructions. We were dismissed at one point.
Okay.
We were told we could go. I was told to report back by 0800 hours.
That's 8 a.m.
8 a.m. I went home, signed out, went home, took a shower, got some clothes.
Okay. So you're supposed to report 8 a.m. Would that point be on the Friday the 22nd?
Yes.
Okay. And you said something. You said it was hot when you were at this property. What was the temperature like during the entirety of the search?
Very hot.
Very hot? Mm-hmm. Do you recall exactly how hot?
I remember drinking a lot of water. Now, I was wearing BDUs, heavy canvas clothing, but yeah, it was very hot. We had to stay hydrated.
So on the 22nd, do you report back to Evergreen High School?
I did.
And where were you told to report?
I went back to the mobile command post. Sergeant Brock was standing by, third shift. I advised him I was going to get some sleep, so I went into the command post and slept for a while.
Okay. And from the command post, did you go back to County Road 11 at some point?
County Road 11?
County Road 6, as shown on Exhibit 11. My apologies.
Yes, sir, I did.
And what did you do when you went back on Friday, the 22nd, at the Worley residence?
Stood by. Deputy Parasini was there. I believe one of the agents from BCI was there, and stood by the residence. There were some agents in and out.
Essentially, were you providing scene security at that point?
I was.
Okay. And at any point that day, were you contacted about potential evidence being found at another location?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall who contacted you?
Yes, sir.
And who would that be?
Would have been Mr. Hudak.
And did he contact you on the cell phone with the cell phone number you had provided to him?
Yes.
And do you recall what information he relayed to you at that time?
He relayed information that he was, I believe he was driving in the area. He located some corn that was down or something that had been disturbed on County Road 7, and advised that he'd found or observed a glove, some type of latex glove, and that it appeared that somebody had started digging in the area.
Okay. And what did you do with that information?
Screenshotted it, took a picture on my phone of it, and sent it to Lieutenant, now Commander Knopfsinger.
You passed it up the chain?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sir, did you eventually report to County Road 7 in the area that Mr. Hudak had described to you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, were you actually involved? Let me strike that. By the time you arrived, had the body been found?
Upon arrival, prior to arrival, I was advised that it was a potential burial site. That the initial spot that Mr. Hudak had located, it appeared that somebody had started digging. Whatever happened with the people that responded there, they ended up going to the west side of County Road 7. And I'm sure they could tell you more about that, but I'd heard that it was... Okay. I was told that...
Hold on.
Your Honor, maybe I could ask it a different way.
Yeah, why don't we rephrase the question, if you would, please?
Sir, by the time you arrived, if you know, and if you don't know, do you know if the body had been found by the time you arrived?
No.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. But you weren't actually involved in digging in the area of the burial site? You didn't actually use the shovel?
No, sir.
Did you provide, Dr. Bertram, some scene security at County Road 7?
No, I did a few other things there, but the scene was relatively secure. It was blocked off north and south.
Did you essentially maybe get things for other people that they may need to use as part of the...
I did. One of the Defiance County deputy sheriffs who was there to assist, he was running low on fuel. It was determined that I would take them to Country Corral. I had a credit card that we get them some fuel for their patrol vehicle.
Essentially, you were just assisting the other officers who had responded with that?
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor.
I have no questions of this witness. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your excuse.
Thank you, sir.
Planning on recalling this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Dick.
We're not calling. He's not calling.
You'd be free to stay in the courtroom. Next witness.
Stephen Muller, Your Honor.
Mr. Muller, if you would, please pull the microphone directly in front of your mouth so we can clearly hear your testimony. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you state and spell your name for the record, would you please?
Certainly. My name's Stephen with a V, and the last name is Muller, M-U-E-L-L-E-R.
And sir, what is your position? What do you do for a living?
I'm a deputy assigned to investigations with the Defiance County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been, is it full-time with the...
I've been full-time with the Sheriff's Office since 1999.
Are you affiliated with any other law enforcement agency?
Yes, sir. I'm a task force officer with the FBI's Violent Crimes Against Children's Task Force out of Toledo
And how long have you been a member of the FBI task force?
since 2013.
Sir, at some point, did you become involved in the search for Sierra jogging?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall what day that would have been?
The date, I'm not exactly sure of. It was the week that she was reported missing, the Wednesday morning. I
Okay.
believe. I think I received a call about 7:30 in the morning.
So the Wednesday morning after Sierra had gone missing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm sorry, did you say what time you had gotten called?
I believe it was approximately 7:30.
Okay. Where did you report to?
Evergreen High School,
Evergreen High
I believe is where I reported.
And did you become involved in, I guess, what was your involvement in the search? Did you canvass the area, or did you search fields? What did you do?
I mainly searched fields.
Okay. And recognizing that you said you're from Defiance County, do you recall which roads here in Fulton County you would have been searching off of?
There were several, and it started Wednesday morning, I believe, near where there was some evidence found. I think that would have been south of her house.
Okay.
And then we ended up, over a matter of days, over on Road 7,
Okay.
I believe.
So you mentioned County Road 7. Did you come to be located on County Road 7 between County Roads J and K?
I believe it was between J and K, yes.
We need to come down the way.
Okay.
How did you come to be located on County Road 7?
I believe it was Friday morning. A tip had come in, some people that had been driving around looking for potential evidence had reported that there was some possible disturbed earth on the east side of Road 7. And Special Agent Marciniak and I and a couple other people, I believe, I don't remember who at this point, had been sent to that area to go look and see if there was anything there.
And when you arrived at that scene, what do you recall?
There was a rubber glove that was laying close to the road. There were two guys in a pickup that were saying, hey, this is the spot, which made it obviously easy to identify. There was a rubber glove that was laying close to the road, just a few feet into the grass, I think. There was some broken down corn there, and we walked back in just to see if there was anything worth examining. There was some earth that looked like it had been freshly dug up, and there was what appeared to be human feces laying there.
Okay. So did you yourself collect that evidence, or did you call for a crime scene person?
We called for the crime scene from BCI to come.
And sir, did you move or touch the glove or any of the items that you mentioned?
No.
So after you had called to have a crime scene specialist from BCI come pick up the items, did you stay and wait for them to arrive?
Yeah, I took a orange cone out of the back of my truck and put it there on the road to mark the spot. And then and I don't remember if it was me specifically at that point, but we blocked the roads at Road 7 at either end of that mile just to keep traffic out of there.
So once those items were collected on the east side of the road by the crime scene specialist, did you report back to the command center?
We also had walked that field.
On the east side?
Yeah, in that time, and not really discovered anything additional.
Okay, so you walked on the cornfield on the east side where the earth had been disturbed? Mm-hmm. Is that yes, sir?
And farther in, yes. And after that, yes, we did report back to the command post.
So you report back to the command post at Evergreen High School. What happened when you're at the command post and you had returned with the crime scene specialist and the things you had found?
We eat lunch, and then we're asked by, I believe, Special Agent Hardy and Doug Engel to return to that area of Road 7 and to do a wider search.
And when you went And do you recall how many agents or officers were going to be responding to this location the second time?
There was probably 10.
Okay.
I don't know for sure.
And when you went back the second time, what happened?
There was a reporter that had come into that area, and we asked him to leave.
Okay.
And blocked off the road again. And within a couple of minutes of being there, one of the other officers found what he believed to be a burial site.
You remember that officer's name, sir?
It was Nick Parasini from Henry County Sheriff's Office, the man unit.
Okay. At the scene on County Road 7, after Officer Parasini or Deputy Parasini indicated that he had found something, what was your involvement at County Road 7? What did you do?
At that point, I believe I took my truck and blocked the north end of Road 7. And we basically maintained the scene.
Okay. Did you have any involvement yourself in the actual digging efforts?
No, sir. That was...
One moment. And so do you remember, what the color of the glove you mentioned?
Like a natural latex.
Okay, latex glove?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember where the feces was in relationship to the disturbed earth on the east side?
Yeah, I want to say it was just to a couple feet to the south, but I honestly...
Okay. In the vicinity of nearby. It wasn't deep into the field?
No.
No further questions, sir.
Very briefly, Your Honor, thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, just a quick follow-up question or two. You stated you arrived on scene on County Road 7, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And as a result of that, you saw a white latex glove, is that correct? And you also saw human feces in the field?
Mm-hmm.
And if you could say yes or no, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry.
No.
We have court
I
reporting.
apologize.
And, sir, you actually did not gather either of those items, is that correct?
No, sir, I did not.
You waited for a crime scene specialist to arrive?
Yes, I did.
And, sir, if you know, did the crime scene specialist collect the human feces, which were found also?
I do not believe they did.
Do you not believe they did? Thank you. No further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Your excuse, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next witness.
Let's take, we call Nicholas Parasini up. Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Morning.
Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Nicholas Parasini, Nicholas. Last name is Pieracini.
Sir, are you currently employed?
Yes.
By whom are you employed?
The Henry County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been with the Henry County Sheriff's Office?
Coming up on 14 years now.
And what are your current duties?
I'm actually assigned to the multi-area narcotics task force.
And how long have you been assigned to the area?
Coming up on 4 years now.
Is that commonly referred to as the man unit?
Yeah, the man unit, yes.
Okay. So you're not in a uniform today. Is there a particular reason for that?
Yeah, I don't wear a uniform. I haven't worn a uniform in almost 4 years, so.
Okay. Sir, at some point, did you become involved in the search for Sierra jogging?
I did.
Is that essentially, was this the man unit was called to provide additional manpower?
Correct.
Do you recall the day you became involved?
Yes. That would have been on Wednesday morning. We've got a group app where we text each other, and there's a message saying that Fulton County was dealing with a possible missing person and wanted some help searching the area and looking for her.
And do you recall where you would have reported to?
I went to Evergreen High School.
And you reported to Evergreen High School, and what did you do with them?
They initially sent us out in two-man teams, gave us a map of areas they want us to check, and we went and knocked on doors, asked residents if they had seen anything the day before, anything suspicious, or if they had seen her riding her bike, and then there was reports that her boyfriend was on a motorcycle behind her, and they just wanted to know who saw that and what they saw and all that, so we went around and questioned residents in the area.
Do you recall which roads here in Fulton County you would be involved in canvassing?
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Fulton County, especially up in that way, but I know I was on County Road S. I think I went down 7, and I'm not sure where else I went, just around the area.
Okay. And is that essentially what you did on that Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, on the 21st, what involvement did you have? Did you have involvement on the 21st, first of all?
Yes, I actually showed up a little late. I had an appointment in the morning. I showed up in the afternoon, and I went to the fire department over there in Metamora. They were doing the search teams and kind of organizing everything there, and when I showed up, they had already went out prior to me arriving, and they were kind of going to start with their second wave with new volunteers and everything. But right before we went out, we were called off because there was a big storm coming through, and then I believe they received some more information and wanted to hold off before we went out and started searching.
Okay. You said they received some additional information. Do you recall, were you dispatched to a certain location later that afternoon on the 21st?
That's correct.
Do you recall where you would have been dispatched?
To James Worley's house is what they told us.
Sure. Showing what's been marked as Exhibit 11. Does this look familiar?
Yes, it does.
Is that the residence in which you were dispatched?
Yes.
What role did you play at County Road at this location, Mr. Worley's residence, as shown on Exhibit 11?
Okay. Initially, we stood on the road and kind of waited for them to kind of go in there and assess the situation and see what was going on. And they were obviously, you know, my crime scene experience doesn't match the people that kind of initially went in. But the first time I entered was when they were at the northbound part of the barn. They noticed a bunch of hay bales in there, and they wanted basically all the hay bales removed. And that's where me and a lot of my coworkers came into play as we went in there and took out those hay bales.
Now, even though you're a member of law enforcement, was there a procedure that you had to engage in to be able to enter?
Yeah, we had to sign in when we entered the property and what time we went in and all that.
Okay. So you indicated, did you assist in moving the straw out of the north barn?
Correct, yes.
And do you have any recollections as when you first walked into the north barn, did you know anything strike you?
There was a crate off to the, when I walked in the barn off to the right along the wall, there was a kind of a green wooden frame crate with like chicken wire around it.
And then essentially at that point, did you start just taking out the hay bales?
Yeah. Yep.
You yourself didn't collect any evidence?
No, I didn't touch anything, just the hay bales, pulling them out.
Did you search any of the other areas on the property?
Yeah, there's a trailer in the back, top left corner. I helped search that. And I did search just kind of around the property, you know, in the grass area and the trees and all that.
And you said that the white building in the back, is that the building that has the
TR on?
TR on it?
Correct, yes.
Do you recall how long you were at the Worley residence on the 21st?
I don't know if I was there past midnight, but at least up till midnight. I could have been there a little later. I don't remember exactly when I left.
So you leave, and where did you go?
I went home and showered and slept.
Did you have involvement in the search on the 22nd, Friday the 22nd?
Yes. I returned back to this property at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's 2 agents from the main unit that stayed overnight and kind of, you know, seen security and all that so we could continue the search in the morning. I arrived with Deputy Waxler at 8 in the morning to relieve those guys and send them home.
So when you're providing security, where were you located?
Just at the edge of the road right there in the driveway.
Okay. At some point, sir, did you come to be located on County Road 7?
Yes, I did.
Describe for the jury, if you would, how you came to be located on County Road 7. Is this between J and K?
Yes.
Describe for the jury how you arrived there.
I was at the residence there most of the day. I helped search the pond on the other side of the street and different areas. And about 5 o'clock, someone came and relieved me, and I went back to Evergreen High School. I had talked to my boss there, and, you know, I hadn't been home in 2.5 days, and I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take off? I'm really not getting anywhere with anything. And he said, well, there's a place on County Road 7. We found some suspicious stuff out there earlier in the day. We had people searching the area and nobody had found anything, but we want to send a second team out there, fresh eyes, you know, different people, and have them check it one more time. So that's when I headed out to County Road 7 between J and K.
So you have been coming in from the north, from Evergreen High School?
Correct, yes.
And before we switch that, sir, if you could come down, you referenced a pond on this photograph.
Yeah, I think you can see it in the bottom left corner.
So, hold on, Exhibit 11, sir, I'm handing you a red pen, a red marker on Exhibit 11. Can you just draw a line and put a P to where you were referring to the pond? Thank you, sir. So, sir, you said you had been coming in from the north.
Correct.
And so you arrive on scene. Where did you park your car, sir?
I parked my car on the west side of the road. It's kind of where the cornfield and bean field. Yeah.
Okay.
Right
Well,
there.
so why don't you come down here again?
Okay.
On State's Exhibit 13. And you said you pulled off on the west-hand side. So on the west-hand side of the road, on the west side, would you...
I'm coming down from the north.
Yes. Why don't you put a red X?
Mr. Parasini, if you could please speak up. Thank you. That's all right.
I came down from the north on County Road 7 and I pulled off the right side of the road. Is this the line where the cornfield and the bean field are?
Well, why don't you describe for where
Okay.
you would have...
If I'm looking at this correct, right, this darker green would be the cornfield and this lighter brown would be the bean field.
All right, right, corn, if you kind of write corn and bean. And if you wrote corn in red and bean in red.
Yes.
And you said you had pulled off the right side of the road near the bean field. If you put an X. All right, and if you just draw a line and put NP for Nick Parasini. So you arrive, you park your car near the bean field. What do you do then?
Well, I arrived with two other guys that rode with me, and there's another car load of maybe 2 or 3 that they told us some people from the FBI were going to come out and help us search, and they had not arrived yet. So we were kind of just sitting there waiting for them to arrive. We didn't want to get started with our search without the whole party there, just because, we didn't want it to come back and get them and then start going back in the field. So initially we were told to search the east side of the road in that cornfield there. So when we were waiting for the FBI to show up, I was just kind of walking around on the west side where I had parked. I just kind of wandered into the cornfield and noticed a little area that was kind of suspicious to me.
Okay. Approximately how many rows into the cornfield was this suspicious area?
Probably like 4 or 5 rows. It wasn't real deep in.
Okay. And when you say you noticed something suspicious, what exactly did you notice?
Well, obviously we're looking for, a grave site basically is what we were looking for. At least that's, that's what it looked like to me. I guess that's not what I was looking for, but when I saw it, that's what I suspected. There was just, like most of the dirt was flat and packed. And when I saw this area, there's probably, a section of corn about this long, maybe 3-4 feet that was missing out of the field. And then the dirt was kind of tilled up and loose, and then it was a little bit higher than the packed dirt is what I noticed.
And sir, so essentially, when you were standing where that, you said 3 or 4 foot of corn was removed, when you saw it, if you would have been standing right where that corn was supposed to be, would you have been surrounded by corn on all sides?
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you just come down again to Exhibit 13, and mark in the general vicinity on the northwestern cornfield where you would have seen this earth disturbed in the corn missing. You put a dot. Can you just draw a line and put earth? All right. So you drew a dot on the map with a line where it says earth on State's Exhibit 13. Correct. So you just find this disturbed earth, the corn missing. What did you do with that information?
Well, we had checked a few other areas, and at this point I wasn't real sure and confident that what I had found was what we were looking for. So when some of the FBI people showed up, I showed them the area and kind of wanted to get some confirmation from them that this was in fact a site that we wanted to look into further. So when they arrived, they took a look into it and they said, yeah, this is definitely something we want to check into. So then this is when they called some crime scene units out there to check it out.
Were you yourself involved in excavating that area on the west side of the road in that cornfield?
I did not remove any dirt from that spot. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Well, did you have any involvement in that particular excavation process at all?
Yeah, then they would bring out 5-gallon buckets of dirt, and they had kind of a sifter, and I was helping with the sifting. They would dump the dirt into the sifter, and I would help sift it, and just looking for anything within the dirt.
Were you there until the body itself was recovered, sir?
Yes.
Sir, if you recall, if you would have headed straight south on County Road 7 and gone across County Road J,
Right.
do you recall if there was something out of the ordinary beyond that point?
Yeah, actually, the overpass to the turnpike was, they must have been working on it or some construction, but there was a road closed sign right there at J and County Road 7. If you wanted to continue southbound, you were not able to.
One moment, sir. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Deck?
No questions of this witness. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. You're excused, sir. Next witness, Mr. Hazelman.
Yes, Your Honor. The state was called Megan Roberts. Please stand.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Please have a seat. Go ahead, ma'am. Please pull the microphone in front of you so we can hear you speak clearly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Ma'am, could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yeah, Megan Roberts. It's MEGANROBERTS.
Ma'am, I've in some of the documents I've also seen the name Megan Anello.
Yes, that's my maiden name.
Ma'am, what is your current occupation?
I'm a special agent with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, and I'm with the crime scene unit.
And where are you currently stationed?
Out of the Bowling Green office.
How long have you been with, if we refer to it, BCI?
I've been there for 6.5 years.
And were you involved in law enforcement before joining BCI?
I was.
And what was your role?
I was a patrolman for 4 years prior.
And who would that have been with?
The Wabridge Police Department.
And did you have any other involvement with law enforcement?
I served with auxiliary for Lucas County as basically a volunteer officer.
And you said, you're involved in crime scene?
Yes.
And what type of education or training does one receive in order to engage in that field?
I am certified through the International Association for Identification. So that means I'm certified internationally as a crime scene agent. I have an associate's degree in criminal justice. I am a graduate of the National Forensic Academy, which is a 10-week training course in Tennessee. And I've had many in-service hours of training through BCI.
When you receive this training, what general types of things are you trained in as a crime scene specialist?
To look for, locate evidence, preserve evidence, collect it properly. At the National Forensic Academy, we're trained on developing latent prints, locating, lifting, and collecting latent prints, the recovery of human remains. We also have special training in blood spatter analysis, things of that nature.
If a crime scene specialist comes across something that is suspected to be blood, is there a way that you can quickly try to find out whether that is or is not?
Yes, we're provided chemicals by our laboratory, and they're just presumptive tests. They're a simple color change test. If it turns blue, it's more than likely blood. If it doesn't turn blue, then we can disregard it and not collect it.
And then final confirmation is done by a lab?
That's correct.
Are you trained in the collection of DNA then?
Yes.
As part of being a crime scene agent, what if there are if tire impressions? Is that something that falls within the arena of a crime scene specialist?
Yes, we're trained to cast and collect tire impressions, shoe wear impressions, any type of pattern impression.
Ma'am, how many crime scenes have you processed in your career, approximately?
Probably between 400 and 500 cases.
Then how many homicide cases have you been involved in investigating?
We usually have about 10 to 12 homicide cases a year, so I'm looking at around 70 homicide cases only.
You become involved in investigating missing persons or suspected abductions?
I have. They're a little more rare than homicide cases, so.
And at some point, did you become involved in the search for Sierra Jogging?
I did.
And how did you become involved?
I was requested by Fulton County Sheriff's Office. They call it our radio room, which is basically our dispatch center. I am an hour away from Fulton County. I'm the closest agent, so I was called to respond to Fulton County.
Do you recall what day you would have responded?
Yes, I responded on July 20th. I think I was called out around 1 a.m.
Where did you first report then?
I responded to County Road 6, just north of T at the abduction site, the suspected abduction site.
So, ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 12. You responded to this area shown?
That's correct.
Was there somewhere specifically you responded when you arrived on scene?
No, I just went to the general site, so.
Okay. When you arrived on scene, did you meet with anyone?
I met with Deputy Matt Smithmeyer. Sheriff Roy Miller was also present, and the K-9 officer was present when I arrived.
I assume BCI has a number of crime scene specialists?
That's correct.
Okay. Was one of those crime scene specialists essentially the head crime scene specialist at this location on County Road 6 north of County Road T?
Yes, that was me.
When you arrived, had anyone collected any evidence, or essentially were they waiting for you?
They were waiting. They had identified some evidence, but nothing was collected till I got there.
Did other BCI crime scene agents arrive at the scene to assist?
Yes.
And do you recall who that would have been?
Special Agent Dave Horn.
Do you recall approximately what time Special Agent Horn would have arrived on scene?
Yeah, he arrived around 4 a.m.
So you arrive at the suspected abduction scene. What's the first thing you do?
We immediately were briefed by whatever investigators already there. So in this case, it was the sheriff and Deputy Smithmeyer. So they briefed me on what had happened prior to me getting there, items of evidence they may have identified already. And then immediately our job is to start documenting the scene. So first and foremost, we begin photography.
When you arrived on scene and you were briefed, as you were standing essentially in the roadway, did anything particularly catch your attention?
Yes, on the west side of the roadway and the east side of the roadway, actually, it was surrounded by cornfields. On the west side, there were two areas where there was broken corn stalks. They were consistent with paths of point of entry or exit, so that stood out first and foremost.
Yeah, I'm going to hand you for identification purposes the exhibit marked as State's Exhibit 28. No. I'm sorry. Could you identify that for the record?
This is a photograph of the west side of the cornfield. There's an orange cone present that was basically marked by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, and there's just the broken corn stalks.
Is that this photograph accurately depicts the photograph or the scene as it was on the night that you first arrived?
It does.
Move to admit Exhibit 28, Your Honor.
No objection to admission, Your Honor.
It'll be admitted.
Move to publish.
No objection.
You may publish.
So, ma'am, if you would, describe for the jury what exactly you were trying to capture with this photograph. And
Can I
feel free-
stand up?
Feel free to come down and just swing the microphone this way so that it will pick up what you say as you stand in front of the board.
Okay, so you can see on the right side of the television screen is a broken cone here. The cone is actually depicting, there were reddish brown stains in the corn, and that area with that cone is marking that. So that's another area, and then there is broken corn down on that section of the photograph also that I'm trying to take a picture of and show.
Maybe easier if you want to stand, because we'll be pointing. Ma'am, I'm handing you unless you think you need to sit down.
No.
I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 29, ma'am. Could you identify that for the record?
Yes, this is a close-up picture of the corn. On the left-hand side of the photo, there's a water line marker, and then you can see a bicycle within the corn.
Does that photograph accurately depict the scene as you saw it?
It does.
Move to admit State's Exhibit 29, Your Honor.
No objection to 29.
It'll be admitted.
So, ma'am, is this in the western cornfield?
That is.
And just point to the for the jurors, if you'd be so kind, as to what exactly this photograph is depicting.
Okay, so you can see the bike tire right in the center of the photo. That's within the corn. That's about 20 feet from the roadway, from the edge of the roadway. And then this water line here is just it's a blue marker.
And if you ask me for one moment. I'm going to have a vote. Sure. Ma'am, I'm going to be handing you the following exhibits of the west side of the road so that we can show them to the jury as we go. And they are, for the record, State's Exhibit 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, and 64.
Mr. Hazelman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Before we begin the discussion of photographs, I think it'd be a good time to take a brief 10-minute recess. The jury is reminded of my admonition previously. Please do not discuss the case among yourselves. Do not express or form any opinion as to the guilt or the innocence of the defendant. Please do not allow anyone else to discuss this case with you. We will be back hopefully in 10 after. Court will be in recess. Mr. Hazelman, if you'd like to continue with your examination of Ms. Roberts.
Yes, ma'am. I have just previously identified a number of photographs of the west side of the road. If you would simply review those photographs and indicate that they all accurately depict the western cornfield, or the items of the western cornfield, on the night, the early morning hours of July 20th, if they accurately depict the west side of the cornfield, the west cornfield as you saw it when you were at the scene on County Road 6.
Okay. Yes, they did.
Here, I would move to admit the aforementioned exhibits.
No objection, Your Honor.
Move to publish, Your Honor.
No objection to publish.
Thank you. The exhibits will be admitted, and you may publish those exhibits.
Yes, ma'am. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 30. What were you trying to show in Exhibit 30?
If you look in the center of the photograph, you can see where the broken corn is laying back behind the ones that are standing upright.
And what, other than showing the corn, what did you believe that particular area was?
Just an area of disturbance where an event might occur.
Okay. Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 31.
This is the same area. This is just a different angle, so I'm standing to the left and pointing my camera in that direction.
Again, showing disturbed corn, some facing to the right of the photograph.
That's correct.
And showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 32.
This is back on the roadway. I'm standing on County Road 6, directly facing the corn. You can see the two areas of disturbed corn, the broken corn stalks that I was talking about, and then the cones that Fulton County was using to identify items of evidence.
And showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 33.
Hey, this is the western edge of County Road 6. This is right before you get into the grass before the cornfield. This is a pair of sunglasses. They were consistent with the women's style sunglasses, and they were marked and identified with the orange cone.
And showing what's been marked as State's Exhibit 34.
Okay. This is same angle or a different angle, looking back towards the corn. You can see the cones in there from Fulton County, and at this point I was using our identifying placards. It makes it easier for us to identify items of evidence once collected. So you can see I marked the sunglasses as number 1, and there's another placard you can't see in the photograph up by 2, and there's additional placards down towards the blue marker for the water line, and then you can see the breaks in the corn in this photo also.
And showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 35.
These are those women's style sunglasses. I believe the brand was GNC.
And what's the relevance of the number 1 name?
That was the identifying number. I put it on. I took the secondary photo on a paper bag, keeping them sterile, and then I packaged them right after that photograph.
And then if something is taken to the lab to test, and it's for example, number 1 at the scene, may it be given a different number at the lab?
That's correct.
That's the laboratory number?
Yes.
Showing you, ma'am, what's been marked as State's Exhibit 36.
Okay, the reason I took this photo was because a lot of the evidence was within the corn. It's very difficult to photograph with corn that is 6 and 7 feet high. So what I did was place the placards on the outside, the perimeter of the corn, and the order of the placards is where the evidence is, just within the corn. Okay, so the letters identify suspected blood, and the numbers identify tangible items, basically.
Okay. Showing what's been marked as State's Exhibit 37.
Okay, this is placard 2. This was one of those perimeter photos. Placard 2 actually identifies a green sock that was located within the corn, about 20 feet within the corn from that location. And then in the upper left-hand corner, you can see a letter A.
And the letters refer to what, ma'am?
Blood stains.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 38, ma'am?
Okay, this is the same concept with the photography, just trying to make it easier. 3, you can see an arrow next to it. That means it's within the corn. 6 was also within the corn. 4 and 5 were pattern impressions located in that loose dirt.
And showing what's been marked as State's Exhibit 39. What is reflected in this photograph?
You can see, obviously, it's a corn stalk, and you can see suspected blood on the corn stalk.
If you'd be so kind as to just point to the suspected blood for the benefit of the jury. And when you find suspected blood, what are you looking for?
We usually, once we see it, we like to be able to describe it. Sometimes it can tell us things about the crime. In this particular case, the blood stains didn't provide a lot of information for us because it's cold in the evening, and then in the morning it warms up, so condensation's formed on the corn stalk, so it's going to change a pattern. So we don't like to give any other information except that it's a blood stain.
And does when you're looking for blood stain, does it have a specific color you're looking for?
We're looking for a reddish-brown stain.
I'm showing you with the marked states exhibit 40.
Okay, this is placard B. These are additional blood stains on the corn, and I can point.
If you would be so kind. Showing you, ma'am, with states exhibit 41.
That's a close-up photo of what I just pointed to, so that's your reddish-brown stain on your corn stalks.
And exhibit 42.
Okay, that's placard C. This corn was flat on the ground, it was broke, and you can see more blood stains. And also on dirt next to the corn.
Showing you exhibit 43, ma'am.
That's a close-up photo of what we just saw, so you can see, it's on the entire width of the corn stalks, basically.
Now, when you are at a crime scene, do you ever quantify the blood as, little bit by sight, little blood, a lot of blood, or just you looking for blood?
Usually just looking for blood.
Okay. And I'm showing you with the marked states exhibit 44.
Okay, this is placard D. It's a little darker to see, so I apologize. But you can see multiple reddish-brown stains here, 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 and up there by the scale.
So we've done A, B, C, D. Exhibit 45, ma'am.
Placard E is showing additional blood stains. There's some on the upright stalk, and then more blood stains right directly beneath the upright stalk. And they're here on this leaf. And then you can see some up here on the upright stalk.
Showing you exhibit 46, ma'am.
That's a close-up of that similar area. So that's the upright portion of the stalk, and you can see the reddish-brown stain right there.
Showing you exhibit 47.
This is the same area, the same stalks, and additional staining.
And I'm showing you exhibit 48.
This is evidence item number 2, and this is that green, neon green sock that I talked about earlier.
And I'm showing you exhibit 49, which has previously been admitted. Describe to the jury what that is.
That's a close-up of the sock, and if you can see, looks like dirt towards the toe. It's actually a reddish-brown staining, and when we use our chemical testing at the scene, it did test presumptively positive for blood.
Showing you exhibit 50.
Okay, placard 3, you can see, this is actually in the same path as item number 2. It was about 35 feet south of the sock, and it's identifying a pair of sunglasses.
Showing you, ma'am, exhibit 51.
Okay, so if I'll point to the screen. You can see the sunglasses right there, and they're beneath a broken stalk.
Showing you exhibit 52, ma'am.
I removed the sunglasses from underneath the stalk to get a better picture of them, but you can see they're consistent with a men's sunglass style.
Showing you exhibit 53.
And there's a close-up of the sunglasses once they're removed from the cornfield.
And is that on the envelope, ma'am?
Yes, it's in number 3, just showing that's the item of evidence.
Showing you exhibit 54, ma'am.
Okay, these were the pattern impressions. They were located right next to the corn stalks in the dirt. There's not a lot of detail. They're very shallow, so they weren't cast and collected. We just used photography to take a picture of them.
Showing you exhibit 55.
And this is the same with number 5 also. You can see some detail towards the right hand of the photograph, but not much to collect.
You understand a pattern impression?
A pattern impression, yep.
Showing you Exhibit 56, ma'am.
This is the bicycle. This is the photograph of the bicycle when it was in the corn, so it was propped up between 2 stalks of corn. The kickstand was also down on it.
And what item evidence number did you get from?
That is evidence number 6.
Showing you Exhibit 57, which was previously admitted.
This is when we removed the bicycle from the corn, just to better and more efficiently document the bike, to look for any evidence on the bicycle. So you can see it's a purple mountain bike. The brand's Palomar. So that's item number 6 again.
Showing you Exhibit 58, ma'am.
These are adhesive labels we use, and if you notice on the label, I'm back to letters. So when I was visually examining the bike, I could see reddish-brown staining, so our suspected blood on the bike, so I was identifying them with letter placards.
Item 59, ma'am.
It's additional staining. You can kind of see it here and here. It's identified with letters H and I.
Showing you Exhibit 60, ma'am.
That's a close-up of H, and you can see the staining a little better there.
And you're referring to on the silver.
On this, yep, the center, yep, the center bar.
Exhibit 61, ma'am.
There's a close-up of I, so you can see the staining again on the center handlebar.
Showing you Exhibit 62, ma'am.
Okay, once it was daylight and we start collecting items of evidence, we did a more thorough search of the cornfield. Start lifting and raking and moving more broken corn, and a orange screwdriver was found in a similar location as the men's sunglasses. That's why placard 3's in there showing where the sunglasses were, and the orange handled screwdriver was found right next to him.
At this point, ma'am, it appears to be daylight.
That's correct.
So, was this an exhaustive process?
This was a long day, yes.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 63, ma'am.
Number 9 identified the orange-handled screwdriver, so that now becomes evidence as number 9.
And does the 3 and the 9 show the relative positions of the sunglasses and the screwdriver to one another?
That's correct.
And Exhibit 64, ma'am.
This was actually found by canine. They used a canine to search after we completed our search, and this was found south of the crime scene. North of the crime scene, and it's a blue headphones.
And that's with Exhibit item number 15?
Item number 15.
And you want to take a seat for a moment?
Yeah.
Now, when you collect a piece of evidence, for example, the screwdriver that we just mentioned, item number 9, what do you normally do with that evidence?
We collect the item, we take it back to a sterile table. In this case, you saw... So we take it back to a sterile location. With the previous photos, you saw a paper bag down or an envelope. We'll take additional photographing of the item, and then it's immediately put into either an envelope, a paper bag, a cardboard box that's sealed, and then it's retained as evidence.
And ma'am, we showed various suspected blood. Were samples of those reddish brown stains taken by you?
That's correct, yes.
And describe to the jury how you, as a crime scene specialist, collect suspected blood for later analysis by laboratory?
That's correct.
How does that work?
Yep, so we do our presumptive test at the scene to make sure it's blood. Then we use a sterile cotton swab, basically. We use one swab to collect the stain. If it's a wet stain, we can just use a swab, collect it, and package it right away in paper. If it's a dry stain, we use sterile water, basically. We put a drop on our Q-tip and we collect it that way. It goes into a paper envelope so it can breathe and the sample doesn't degrade. Then it's retained as evidence in that manner.
And if you have one of those swabs in an envelope, and you're a crime scene specialist, where does that envelope ultimately end up?
At the lab?
At the lab. Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to be handing the witness, Mr. Norton, as State Exhibit 437, which are laboratory evidence submission sheets in CSI case number 16-23450. If they can follow the exhibit, my understanding is that this is going by situation recording.
That's correct, Your Honor. Thank you. It'll be
State Exhibit 438, which are laboratory evidence submission sheets for BCI case number 1623963, which is also going in by situation recording.
Is it correct, Mr. Deck?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Thank you.
I'm handing you what's been marked as State Exhibit 437, for example. And a few pages in, there's actually, it says submission number 2. It's got your name shown here. Does that essentially indicate that you would have submitted those items to the lab?
That's correct.
So essentially, what happens, if I understand correctly, ma'am, looking at Exhibit 437 is an item is collected, if it's taken to the lab, it's then taken to the lab and given a laboratory number.
That's correct.
And this paperwork shows who transported that particular evidence to the lab, which member of law enforcement. Is that accurate?
Yeah, who actually submitted the piece of evidence, yes.
So essentially, that's to help keep track of who had evidence and moved it from point A to point B?
Correct, chain of custody.
I did want to ask you a couple of questions about, additional questions, my apologies, about Exhibit 437. On here it says date of offense. It says 7/20/2016. Is that the date BCI was contacted?
That's correct, or date of discovery of the item of evidence.
Okay. And it says it says submitting officer, which we talked about. It says investigating officer name. Is that the person from the underlying jurisdiction who's essentially head of the investigation?
That's correct.
And I assume every item, every case that goes to the BCI lab will have its own case number?
That's correct.
And ma'am, in this particular case, did you take DNA swabs of the suspected blood in the western Cornfield?
I did collect those, yes.
Ma'am, you mentioned earlier your crime scene training involves looking for fingerprints. Did you fingerprint any items at the scene?
I personally did not.
As the person in charge of the scene, was someone assigned to do that?
That's correct.
And who would that have been?
Dave Horn processed the bicycle for latent prints.
Okay. Ma'am, other than the bicycle that was previously shown in the photographs, did you find any other bicycles in the area on County Road 6 of the suspected abduction?
No, I did not.
Anyone ever bring to your attention that there are other bikes found?
No.
Ma'am, you indicated that you performed some presumptive tests. Did you perform presumptive tests of the suspected bloodstains on both the bike seat and the handlebars?
Yes, I believe I did.
And would that have been for both, I think, H and I on the handlebars?
Yep, both areas.
Thank you. And ma'am, did you also search the cornfield on the east side of County Road 6 between County Road T and 120?
I did.
Ma'am, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as exhibits 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, and 85. And ask you if these photographs accurately depict the Cornfield to the east side of the road on County Road 6, North County Road, as you saw it back in July 2016.
Okay. Okay, they do, yes.
And so this is what it appeared to be. And you were there, you were essentially at the scene the 20th
Yes,
of July?
yes.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection to admission.
They will be admitted.
Move to publish, Your Honor.
No objection to publish, Your Honor.
You may publish.
Ma'am, showing you it's been marked as Exhibit 65. If you'd be so kind as to explain what that is showing on the east side of the road.
This is the east side of the Cornfield, off of County Road 6. This is just a area of unplanted dirt, basically. And if you can, this photo's a little tough, but you can see there are tire impressions in that unplanted dirt.
Ma'am, what is this particular item showing?
The tire impressions? Is that what you meant?
This area here.
The corn?
Yes, is that, were you just trying to document the tire impressions?
Tire impressions only, yeah.
Okay. And ma'am, appears to be the north, if you're looking to the east. Do you recall what that was?
It was a bean field, I believe. And there's a drainage ditch right there on the edge.
There's a ditch and a field to the north?
Yes.
Okay. That field to the north, did you find any evidence in that field?
No.
You did not see any bikes on that eastern side of County Road 6, either in that northern field or in the cornfield?
Correct.
Showing you, ma'am, what's been marked as Stacy Exhibit 66. What is depicted in this report?
So this photograph is I'm standing directly in that area of unplanted dirt, and I'm facing back south. So I'm turning my body, and I'm facing back down the path of corn.
Okay. Exhibit 67, ma'am.
Okay, so I walk down that path of corn, and we're starting to notice more broken corn now. Same path, same area, on the east side of the cornfield.
Again, walking south?
Walking south.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 68.
This is right at the opening. You can see it's about a 10 by 10 area. That entire lane of corn is broken down. And then the row east is also broken down.
Showing you Exhibit 69.
Okay, this is me continuing to walk forward, so I'm walking south. The very edge of that 10 by 10 area, there's additional corn breaking down, and then it's moving to the right a little bit where it's continuing to break down, or is already broken down.
Exhibit 70.
Okay, this is me standing at the very edge of the 10 by 10 and taking a picture back towards the opening of the field, just showing the broken down corn. And there's also some pattern impressions in there. You can't see them very well, but there's pattern impressions in that area also.
Exhibit 71, ma'am.
This is same area. I'm turning back south again. This is where the corn's breaking down to the right of the cornfield. And right there in the center of the picture, you can see a green little box. It was a fuse box.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 72.
Okay, it's now daylight. I'm back outside of the cornfield. I'm standing on the road. Placard 10 is in there, and I'm just identifying those tire impressions that we saw earlier in the photos.
Okay, were you able to ascertain, there could be motorcycle tire tracks, four-wheel vehicle tire tracks, or were you only able to ascertain that there was one set of tire tracks?
Just, yes, vehicle tire tracks.
Okay. Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 73.
I'm going to step and
If you
point.
would.
Okay. So it's item number 10. Those are those tire impressions again. You can see some towards the top of the photo here, and then right along here right in front of 10.
Showing you Exhibit 74, ma'am.
This is a close-up. This is what we kind of want to see when we have impressions that we want to cast. You see there's a lot more detail than the other photos. So this is something we collected with photography, and then we also collected with the casting material.
And when items are collected with the casting material, what kind of material is used for the casting?
It's basically, it's called dental stone. So it's what, when we go to the dentist and they cast our teeth for x-rays, it's basically the same material we use. It's in a gallon bag. We mix it up with water. And we mix it kind of like pancake batter. That's the consistency we're looking for. And all we do is pour it on the impression. It sits. It's summertime, so it's hot, so it settles fairly quickly within 10 minutes. And then we can pick it up and retain it as evidence.
Exhibit 75 then.
Okay, this is the 10 by 10 area of Cornfield. So item 11 and item 12 are showing impressions that were in the dirt.
Okay. Item 76, maybe.
So I'm standing in the southern end of that 10 by 10 area, pointing in. 12, you're showing a pattern impression. 13 is marking the fuse box, and 14 is marking another pattern impression.
Item 77?
So that's a close-up of item 11. That's that pattern impression. There's not much there. We can see there's something there, but it's not enough to cast. So if you look here and here, you can see a little bit of detail.
So that was item 11. This is exhibit 78, ma'am?
Okay, this is item 12. Again, a very faint pattern impression. That's why we just document it with the scale and with photography.
And exhibit 79.
I believe that's item 12 again also. You can see it's just a faint pattern impression. We photographed and kept moving.
Essentially a close-up.
Close up.
Showing exhibit 80, ma'am.
This is items 13 and 14. It's more of a mid-range photo. You can see the broken corn stalks. 13 is identifying that fuse box, and 14 is identifying that pattern impression.
Exhibit 81.
You can see a more close-up of the fuse box.
And exhibit 82.
And it's a Napa brand, automotive fuses, and a bus. So, another close-up.
Exhibit 83, ma'am.
That is the pattern impression that 14 is identifying. And this is a close-up with a scale. I'll point out where the exact pattern impression is. No, it's just a linear type pattern.
Like a line drawn.
Correct.
And exhibit 85 is
And another close-up of item number 12. So another pattern, that same pattern impression.
ma'am, going back for a moment to exhibit 14. Does this appear to be shoe print, tire mark? Do you have any?
It's just a linear type pattern. I can't see any detail with it.
With respect to the various impressions you showed, 12, 11, could you tell whether those are shoe impressions, tire impressions?
Yeah, 12 and 11 were more consistent with shoe wear. 10 is your tire impression. 4 and 5 on the western edge were more shoe impressions. This didn't show that characteristic. It was just linear or line in nature.
I'm showing you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 86. Were you involved in, first of all, what is that particular item?
This is a patterned, a blue check towel. It has reddish-brown staining on it.
And where, in relationship to the knockdown corn on the west side of the road, was that particular towel shown in Exhibit 86?
This was about 1,000 feet north of the actual crime scene, so it was a good ways away from the original area.
And which side of the road?
It was on the west side of the road.
Was it in that same cornfield?
Yes.
And that accurately depicts where you saw that towel on the 20th of July in 2016.
That's correct. It was found by a line search team. And they came and they let us know it was there.
Ma'am, did you make a diagram that showed the overall layout of the scene on County Road 6 as to where these various items were located?
I did.
And was that made close in time to your collection of the evidence in question?
Yes.
Is it common for you to make that, as part of your activity at VCI, to make those items?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, what's showing you has been marked as State's Exhibit 87. Is this the diagram that we've just been discussing?
It is.
Your Honor, move to admit
No objection to it, Mr. Mayor.
and move to publish to the jury.
The exhibit will be admitted and may be published.
So, ma'am, if you would just come down through the diagram and basically describe your legend and then point to where items are found and just describe essentially what is shown.
So this is our legend. This is basically identifying any number or any letter that I might have in the diagram. Okay? This is County Road 6. This is our grass area. This odd color was the closest thing I could find to Earth with our program. So that is that dry dirt. That's what that's supposed to depict. So this is the dry dirt area next to the cornfield, and here are our placards in the scene. So you can tell that the items 1 through 15 were found 29 feet, varying distances from the road, and the entire scene itself was 51 feet in length. Okay. This is where the sunglasses were found, the women's style sunglasses. Up here is the green neon stock.
And that'd be number 2 on the map, or on the diagram?
Number 2 on the diagram.
And 1 was the sunglasses?
That's correct.
Okay.
Number 3 were the men's sunglasses. They were found about 30 feet from item number 2, which was the green stock. 4 and 5 were those pattern impressions on the side of the cornfield. This is where our bike was found, where the water line marker was. So this is where our bike was found. 7, 8 were swabs taken from the bike, so they're not depicted in the diagram. 9 is our orange-handled screwdriver, so they share a placard because they're basically in the same area. 10, 11, 12, and 13 were on the east side of the road. So this is where we found our tire impressions, our pattern impressions. Number 13 is the Napa fuse box. 14 is another impression. And 15 is the item the canine found, and that was the headphones.
On the map, it says total station. Describe to the jury, what is a total station?
So a total station is the piece of equipment we use to measure our scene. Handheld measurements aren't going to work in a cornfield because we can't see what we're looking for. The total station allows us to use a laser, and it's basically, if you've ever seen an engineer measure the road surface, they have the tripod and machine on top. That's what we're using to collect our data for our measurements.
Thank you. So, ma'am, let me show you Exhibit 12. The diagram that you've just shown us in Exhibit 87. In the general area on Exhibit 12, where was the scene on the west-hand side in relationship to this item, Exhibit 12?
I believe it was right in this area. So this is the western edge of the eastern edge.
Okay. So are you talking about where the towel was found?
Oh, the towel?
Yeah.
Yeah, the towel, I'm sorry. So our actual scene is here.
Okay.
And then our towel was found more towards this wooded area, about the same width away from the road.
Okay, so essentially the towel was as deep into the cornfield on the left-hand side as the items you described in Exhibit 87.
It was about 50 feet, so our original scene was 30 feet off the roadway, and the towel was 50 feet, so.
Okay. And then in this eastern cornfield, do you remember where in the eastern cornfield, was it the northwest corner of this southeastern cornfield where the pattern impression tire marks were?
That's correct.
And the scene on the west side is essentially across the road from that location?
That's correct.
Essentially the location where these three fields meet?
Right.
Since it was not indicated under fire Exhibit 87, can you take this black marker and just show generally in this western cornfield, you said near the field, where the towel was found approximately? And can you just write towel about it? And that's on Exhibit 12, you just wrote towel at the location as to where that
Right.
towel from Exhibit 86 was located.
Correct.
Thanks. Ma'am, did you, however, also make a diagram that shows the location of the general crime scene in relationship to County Road T?
I did.
Is that a common thing for you to do when you're engaged in your crime scene activities?
Yes, it kind of helps with orientation when you're looking over a large area like that.
I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes, a State Exhibit 88. Is this a diagram that you created as well?
Yes.
And was it made near in time to your activities on July 20th, 2016?
Yes.
And what was your purpose for in creating this particular exhibit?
I just wanted to establish that the crime scene was the distance from County Road T and the crime scene, so it was 755 feet north of County Road T.
Okay. Your Honor, if you would move to admit Exhibit 88.
No objection to 88, Your Honor.
And move to publish.
No objection to publish.
To be admitted, you may publish.
So if you could just come down, ma'am, and just describe and point for the jury as to what exactly is shown on State Exhibit 88.
This diagram is showing County Road T here on the edge of the diagram. It's showing north is in this direction, so it's to the right. The crime scene I depicted with this little X in a circle, and it's showing it was 755 feet north of County Road T. At the bottom I have the white towel with the blue pattern was located 1,030 feet north of the crime scene, so that means the towel is in this direction another 1,000 feet.
And if I were to turn this map in orientation to Exhibit number 12, essentially this would show Cornfield on the west side and Cornfield on the east side, and then north.
That's correct.
And it shows the crime scene in relationship to that triangular location on Exhibit 12.
That's correct.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, at any point when you were on scene on the 20th of July 2016, did you come to be in possession of a motorcycle helmet?
I did.
Describe to the jury, if you would, how you came to be in possession of a motorcycle helmet.
Yes, another agent by the name of Jason Snyder. The owner of the farm field, Troy Vandenbush, I believe his name was, stated that he had found the helmet on the night of the 19th, and he had taken the helmet off the side of the road and placed it in the back of his pickup truck. I'm assuming when he learned about the investigation and saw that he had the helmet, he brought it back to us while we were still out processing the crime scene.
Ma'am, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as Exhibits 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, and 95. And if you could please take a look at those. Ma'am, do those photographs, 89 through 95, accurately depict the motorcycle helmet as it was brought to you by Mr. Vanden Bush back on July 20th, 2016?
Yes, they do.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection to admission.
Move to publish, Your Honor.
No objection to publish, Your Honor.
It will be admitted, you may publish.
And before we look at those particular exhibits, I want to show you some exhibits that were admitted previously. Start with exhibit 22, ma'am. If you could just describe for the jury, when you saw the helmet, did anything particularly about the helmet catch your attention?
Yes, there appeared to be reddish-brown staining on the helmet.
If you could just, so we're looking at exhibit 22. Is there reddish-brown staining visible on this particular photograph?
Yes.
If you would be so kind as to approach and to the television and show where on exhibit 22 there appears to be reddish-brownish stains consistent with what?
You can see staining on the, I guess, the neck portion of the helmet. This whole exterior, you can see reddish-brown staining. Here again, and then on the cotton padding portion of the helmet also.
So inside the helmet?
Yes.
Showing you exhibit 20, ma'am.
In this photograph, you can see more reddish-brown staining. So this is the front exterior portion. All of this, what's smeared, is all reddish-brown staining. You can see it in the rivets where the visor would snap in place. There's reddish-brown staining in there. And then you can just see the brand of the helmet in this photo is an HJC.
In exhibit 21.
You can see additional staining. This is the side of the helmet. I think the left front side. More reddish-brown staining or suspected blood in the rivets, around the rivets, here, and around the top. And then it's a CS5 model helmet.
Showing you what's been marked as exhibit 89, ma'am.
This is the interior of the helmet. You can see some more staining towards the black padded portion of the top. And up on that top rivet, you can see the suspected blood.
The rivet on the right-hand side of the photograph?
On the right hand and on the left-hand side.
And I'm showing you what's been marked as exhibit 90.
This is a close-up. You can see more suspected blood on the exterior of the helmet, and then it's a DOT snow-approved helmet.
91.
This is showing the model and additional suspected blood, so you can see it. It covers pretty much the entirety of the exterior of the helmet.
92.
Close-up photo of the model, and then you can see more suspected blood on the helmet.
93.
More of that suspected blood here, and on the front, and towards the lower hand corner of the photograph.
94.
A close-up of the reddish-brown staining. That whole photograph, you can see it on.
And 95.
And then the reddish-brown staining that's on the padding of the interior of the helmet.
Thank you. You have a seat. So, ma'am, evidence that was collected at the scene. Certain items were taken to BCI, or other items taken to the Fulton County Sheriff's Department.
That's correct.
How many hours were you at this scene on the 20th, the area on County Road 6 between County Road T and State Highway 120? How many hours were you there?
I believe almost 9 hours. I arrived at 2 a.m. and I believe we cleared around 10:30, 10:45.
Ma'am, I'm handing you a brown paper bag marked with state with a red state exhibit 164 sticker on it. If you would be in a position to identify what's in this bag and if you recognize anything on the outside.
Okay, there is a lab number on here, so this was something that was submitted to the lab. The lab number is 16-23450. Says it was submitted on the 21st of July by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. It was repackaged on 9/21/17. It's a motorbike helmet in a brown paper bag collected by myself. Our case number, which is 16-0557, the date it was collected on the 20th, and it's evidence number 18 on our inventory.
Okay. So would that be inventory, would that be the lab inventory?
18 is my inventory. The lab inventory, it was item number 14.
Okay. So your item 18, for your purposes at the scene, item 14 went out the lab.
That's correct.
Okay. And do you need something to help open that?
Pair of scissors.
Pair of scissors. How about, is this new, man?
Okay, inside I have another paper bag. Looks like the original packaging containing the helmet.
If you would remove that packaging again. Ma'am, in that additional paper bag, is that the evidence, information, and paper bag that you had used to collect this motorcycle on?
That's correct. That's our labels.
And ma'am, is that, what is that item that has been marked as 164?
This is a motorbike helmet, evidence number 18, and then it just shows the location of where we found the helmet.
So, ma'am, is that the same motorbike helmet we've just been looking at in the photographs?
It is.
And that is the motorcycle helmet you had collected from Troy Van Bush back on July 20, 2016?
That's correct.
If you could just simply, Your Honor, first we move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection to admission.
It will be admitted.
Move to publish the jury.
No objection.
But you just hold that up to the jury to be able to see that. And does that actually still show some staining, ma'am?
It does.
If you could put that back in the bag. You need to close the bag. That was 164. 164.
It's down. As long as it's on the
Okay. Now, with court permission, I'll just set this to the side.
That'll be fine.
Ma'am, I'm handing you a box that has been marked as State Exhibit 169. If you could be so kind as to identify what is contained in the box that is shown as 164, or excuse me, 169.
Yes, this is item number 9 on my inventory. Our case number's on there, and it's saying it's an orange-handled screwdriver. It was found in the Cornfield on July 20th, 2016. There's also a lab number on here, the case number, and it was submitted on the 20th by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
Ma'am, could you open that package and look at what's on the interior? Let's open the box. Is that the orange-handled screwdriver, ma'am, that you collected at the scene on July 20th, 2016?
This is the screwdriver.
That is the same screwdriver, ma'am?
This is, yes.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
Mr. Burling, Mr. Deck,
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Move to admit the screwdriver.
No objection. That is
69.
And move to publish.
No objection.
It will be admitted. You may publish.
So that is the same orange-handled screwdriver that was found in the Cornfield inside of County Road 6.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. You may put that back together. I'm giving you an envelope, and on the outside of that envelope is marked the State's Exhibit 170. If you would please review what is shown in the State's Exhibit 170.
And this is item number 3, collected by myself. It's the black sunglasses that were located in the Cornfield.
Ma'am, could you open that package and tell me whether that package contains the sunglasses that you had just referenced?
Yes, it does.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection on 170, Your Honor.
Move to
Be admitted, you may publish.
show the jury to these effects. So these are the male sunglasses that were found and marked as Exhibit 3 on the west, in the West Cornfield at the suspected abduction site.
That's correct.
You may put them back in. And ma'am, I'm handing you what's been marked, the State's Exhibit 171. Could you please identify that for the jury?
Okay, this is item 13. This was found on the east side of the cornfield, and this was the Napa Automotive fuse box.
Ma'am, could you open the envelope and ensure that what is reported to contain it does in fact contain?
Yes, this envelope contains the fuse box.
Your Honor, we'll move to admit.
No objection on 171, Your Honor.
Move to publish.
Granted.
Show this, just hold it up to the jury so they can get an idea. Ma'am, feel free to put that back in. You can have a seat. Ma'am, do exhibits 164, 169, 170, and 171 appear to be in the same condition today as when you saw them back in July 2016?
Yes, they do.
So you had talked about how you had left the scene on County Road 6 at 10:30, 10:45 in the morning. Where did you go? What did you do then?
All this evidence was transferred to Fulton County Sheriff's, except I believe it was the sunglasses, some swabs of suspected blood from the bike and from the cornfield. Those were taken, and the screwdriver shortly after were taken directly to the lab. So the remaining items, evidence is transferred over, and then I cleared the scene that day, and I went back to my residence.
Okay. Ma'am, so was that all your involvement on the 20th?
That's correct.
Okay, on the 21st, what did you do on the 21st?
I gotta think about this for a second. The 21st, we examined the residence of James Worley.
Okay.
Or the property.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 11. Is this the property that you're referring to?
Yes, that's correct.
You need a test your name. So did you report directly here, or did you report to the command center at Evergreen High School?
That command center first.
Okay. And essentially, were you dispatched from there to this location to conduct the search?
That's correct.
Okay. The various, you arrive at this scene. Were you one of the first people from a crime scene point of view to enter the scene?
That's correct.
And how was this search of this property broken down? Was the search warrant obtained?
Yes.
So how was the search of this property broken down? Was it broken down by agent, had a particular area, broken down by various area? How was it broken down?
Yes, this was a very large property search. So we went with multiple crime scene agents, and we lettered each building according to how we wanted to search it, just so that when we typed a report, it'd be easy to identify where the evidence came from which building. So with this, the barn is located on the north side of the diagram. It's a fairly large barn, so we broke it up in two sections. So this section of the barn.
By this section, you're pointing to the farthest north end of the barn with the initials NB on it.
That's correct. So that's the north side of the barn. That was identified with letter A, and then we moved through the property and ended with letter I, being James Worley's residence.
Could you, ma'am, come down and to the extent you recall, in a red pen on State's Exhibit number 11, just put the corresponding letters that you recall.
Yes, I may need to refer to my report.
If you need to refresh your recollection, then that would be more than fine.
So A is North Barn, double A is South Barn, B, C, and D were vehicles that were parked in front of this workshop area when we arrived, so they each got a letter. D was the workshop and the motorcycle that was stored in the workshop. F was a disabled vehicle, basically. It was a Toyota Tercel that was located back behind the workshop, right behind that tree. G was a mobile home. H was a chicken coop, and I was the residence.
Thank you very much. So you said this was a fairly large property. Do you recall first what time you arrived at the Worley residence?
I don't believe we arrived till about noon. Afternoon, I had done searches in the morning, line searches at the Cornfield, and this came in afterwards. So it was later in the afternoon.
Okay, later in the day on the
21st.
21st. Okay. Was there a particular area of this property that you had just broken down by letter that you were primarily responsible for searching?
Yes, I searched Double A, so the south side of the barn. I searched Worley's residence for the first initial search. I searched the Toyota Tercel, and I also searched the chicken coop.
Did you eventually end up inside the Worley residence?
I did.
Okay. When you said you searched the large barn, the south barn area, anything of particular interest found?
No, we collected chains and ropes. Nothing of substantial value.
Okay. And you said you searched the residence. Did you search it alone, or were other agents present with you?
There are other agents.
Do you recall who they may have been at this time?
Dave Horn was in at one point searching. Tyler Price was also assisting.
And are they both BCI agents now?
They are, yeah.
Do you recall how many BCI agents were at the Worley residence on the 21st during the course of the search?
Just crime scene agents alone, there were 6 of us. I think 6 of us. And then you had additional SIU agents, that's our Special Investigative Unit. There may be 3 or 4 more of those, plus other departments. So
Other agencies?
Other agencies.
And do you recall searching the interior of the Worley residence?
I do.
And I'm handing you what's been marked as exhibits 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 113, 114, and 115. And if you could review those for me.
So here's on Sunday, it ends at 109, and restarts at 113, 15.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Hazelman. Those were beginning photographs beginning at what number?
96 to 109, and then 113 to 115.
Thank you.
Ma'am, does those photographs, all of them, 96 through 109 and 113 to 115, accurately depict the interior of the Worley residence when you saw it on, would have been Thursday, July 21st, 2016?
Yes, it does.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection to admission of the aforementioned.
They will be admitted.
Move to publish.
No objection to publish, Your Honor.
They may be published.
Ma'am, showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 96. What are you depicting in this particular photograph?
This is the kitchen of the residence. To the right's the main entry door that led right into the kitchen. And I'm photographing the boxes that are located on that west wall.
And as you sit here, ma'am, do you recall what those were?
Yeah, those are adult diapers.
Showing you the marked States Exhibit 97, ma'am. What is depicted in that photograph?
This is the living area of the residence. I was just showing that there were more boxes of those adult diapers.
Are they essentially being used as apparently a table?
Yeah, it looks like it, yes.
Exhibit 98, ma'am.
Okay, this is the bedroom located off of the living room of the residence. You can see the bed, clothing in the photograph, but you can also see a packaging of the adult diapers, and you can tell that they're a Prevail brand.
And exhibit 99, ma'am.
Okay, this is the same bedroom, and I'm standing near the bed for this photograph. You can see the diapers there in the right-hand corner again.
Showing you what is exhibit 100.
This is me standing in the same bedroom near the bed again, just turning towards the entry door. You can see the entertainment stand. There's 2 packages of the Prevail adult diapers in the stand. And then on top of the entertainment stand on the right-hand corner, there is a wallet, and it has the identification card for James Worley in it.
Did you believe this was the defendant's bedroom, ma'am?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as exhibit 101.
This bedroom is located in the residence off of the kitchen. You can see another packaging of the adult diapers.
Okay. At this point, ma'am, was the defendant's elderly mother present when you were in the residence?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, was this her bedroom?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as exhibit 102, ma'am?
This is her bedroom still, the mother's bedroom. You can see more adult diapers located down the dresser. And then her closet is to the left-hand side of the photograph.
And showing you with respect to the closet, exhibit 103.
And you can see 2 more packaging of the Prevail diapers. You can see them on the lower bottom of the photograph. They're sticking out another packaging, and then near my hand to the left, there's more diapers there.
Okay. Ma'am, showing you what's been marked as exhibit 104.
This is the washer. This is located in the laundry room of the residence. The laundry room was located right off the kitchen area. I examined the contents of the wash machine.
Okay. Showing you, ma'am, what's been shown as exhibit 105.
This is a size XL Dickies gray t-shirt. This is found in the washer. It's still wet, and if I can point out here, on the left sleeve, right here, there was a little debris of like a hay material. I collected it right away. I don't have any other photos to document it. I didn't want to lose it in the laundry room, so I collected it right off the t-shirt.
Okay, ma'am, 106.
This is a close-up of that t-shirt, and it was identified with I-1, so that was the first piece of clothing on the inventory for the residents.
And that's the same one you took out of the washer, ma'am?
That's correct.
Okay, showing you 107.
These are a pair of black denim jeans that were located in what I believe to be James Worley's bedroom. They're identified with I-7.
And picture 108, ma'am?
This is a close-up photo of the jeans. You can tell that there's some dirt on the exterior portion of the jeans. I was just photographing that.
And 109?
And then you can see that the dirt extended all the way down to the ankle area of the jeans.
Okay, I'm showing you exhibit 113. What area of the residence is this?
This is the living area.
What is shown on the far wall closest to you, ma'am?
Television.
And what appears to be in the corner near that television?
It is a computer tower, basically.
Ma'am, showing you exhibit 114. You just identify that?
Yep, that is a computer tower.
And exhibit 115?
This is a photograph of the make and model, so it's an HP 8000, and the serial number is illustrated there in the lower right-hand corner.
Is that this number here?
Yes.
Could you read that?
Yes, it's CNX 732216J. Possibly. I can look up my inventory to double check if you want.
Well, if that,
Looks like it.
so it's either 2, 1 or an L?
Yeah.
Ma'am, at some point, did you collect the clothing you had understood that James Worley had been wearing on July 19, 2016?
That's correct. Mr. Worley provided it to investigators.
So he pointed it out to you?
Yeah, he brought it out to us.
Ma'am, I'm handing you a bag that's been marked as State's Exhibit 435. 435. If you could please identify this bag and its contents.
Yeah, this piece of evidence was identified with I-3. The description says it is a cream-colored shirt. It's a size XL.
Ma'am, could you open that bag and ensure that Exhibit 435 is on the inside and it's supposed to be on the outside?
Yes, this is a shirt.
And that is the shirt that Mr. Worley identified as being the shirt he was wearing on July 19, 2016?
That's correct.
Move to admit, Your Honor. No objection. Move to publish, Your Honor. Okay.
Shirt will be admitted and published.
The kind of shirt here. Okay, you put that back in the bag, thank you. Ma'am, I'm handing you a bag. It's been marked as State's Exhibit 110. If you could identify that for the record, then.
This is evidence item I-1, so it's a gray colored t-shirt, and this is the t-shirt that was collected from the wash machine.
Could you open that bag, ma'am, and ensure that it does in fact contain what it purports to contain?
Okay, yes, it does.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
Move to publish, Your Honor.
Will be admitted and may be published.
Good for me to show the jury. So that is the gray t-shirt that was collected from the washer.
Yes.
Thank you. And now I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 111. It's an envelope with the State's Exhibit sticker on it. Could you identify this for the record, please?
This is item I-2. This is the debris, basically, is how I marked it, found on the gray shirt.
Could you open up that package, ma'am, and ensure that it doesn't contain what it purports to contain?
Yes, it does.
No objection to that 111.
111.
When it's
Move to publish.
You will be admitted, you may publish.
You can see the two pieces right there.
You feel free to put that back in the package. And while you're putting that away, we showed the photograph of the computer that is shown, actually still on the screen. Did you take possession of that?
Yes, that was collected that night.
And how long were you inside the Worley residence itself to search?
I was there until 1:30 in the morning. So on the property, we were there for over 10 hours. Probably in the house for 4, maybe.
Okay, so you said 1:30 a.m. would be on Friday, July 22nd?
That's correct.
So at 1:30, what'd you do?
At 1:30, we cleared the scene for the night, and we all went to our respective residences.
Okay, did you come back the next day?
I did.
Okay. So you come back on Friday the 22nd. Did you conduct additional searches on the premises?
Yes, I did.
What areas did you search?
So on Friday morning, I searched the Toyota Tercel, so the vehicle, and the chicken coop. That was my morning.
Did anything of particular interest arrive out of the Toyota or the chicken coop?
No.
You recall, ma'am, what you searched next?
Yes. From there, we moved to South Delta Storage, and we began our examinations of the vehicles B, C, and D. They were transported from the Worley residence very early on Friday morning, and they were stored and secured at South Delta Storage.
And would that be essentially defendant's red pickup truck, his green pickup truck, and his motorcycle?
That's correct.
And we're handing you what's been marked as exhibits 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, and 127. You recognize these photographs?
Yes, I recognize these photos.
And what are those photographs?
These are photos of the Chevy S10 red pickup truck.
And does those accurately depict the red Chevy pickup truck and its contents as you saw it on July 22nd, 2016?
That is correct.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
Objection to admission.
Move to publish, Your Honor.
Objection to publish.
Granted.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 116. Can you just describe to the jury what's being depicted in that photograph?
Yes, that's a storage container at South Delta Storage with the red Chevy pickup truck.
Exhibit 117, ma'am?
That is the manufacturer sticker in the side of the door that contains the VIN number of the vehicle.
And ma'am, when these vehicles were stored at South Delta Storage, were, for lack of a better term, they kept on their lock and key?
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as Exhibit 118, ma'am.
Hey, this is our evidence placard. The letter D is in there because the identifier for that vehicle was letter D from the property. It's item number 1, and it was a can of pepper spray in the pocket of the driver's side door.
Exhibit 119, ma'am?
That's a close-up photo of where the item was contained.
And Exhibit 120.
And you can see it's the pepper spray brand Pepper Power, manufactured by Hudak.
Showing you Exhibit 121, ma'am.
This is the rear area of the pickup truck. It was only like a 2-seater, and it had the small seat in the back. So this is directly behind the passenger seat. You can see items 2, 3, and 4 identify with our placards. The one was a cotton ski mask. This number 3 is toilet paper, and number 4 is identifying a roll of black duct tape.
Exhibit 122, ma'am.
This is that ski mask in the previous photo.
Exhibit 123.
This was contained inside the ski mask. So inside the ski mask were a pair of work gloves and a Vikings ear warmer.
Exhibit 124.
And this is the duct tape roll found in the rear of the vehicle, and it's Gorilla brand.
Exhibit 125 then.
This is the passenger rear side of the seat in the rear pocket. And I'm identifying the item that's contained inside the pocket with placard number 6.
And these spots on the lower left corner of the photograph, do you know what those were, ma'am?
Yes, those were basically damage to the back carpet. It looked like there were some type of like a detergent stain that bleached out the carpet area, and some sections were actually removed or damaged so much that the material itself was damaged.
So item 125 shows the rear pocket of the passenger seat.
Yes.
Exhibit 126.
Okay, these are zip ties that were located in there. They're about 24 inches in length.
And those are behind the passenger seat?
Correct.
And exhibit 127, ma'am.
So those were the zip ties located in that area. 3 of them were connected already, and 4 of them were loose.
Ma'am, I'm handing you a bag that's been marked and identified as State's Exhibit 173. Could you identify what's in this bag, ma'am?
Yes, this is our evidence marker, or our evidence label, so it says D-6, 2D-6. They're the black zip ties. There's 7 in there, and they were located in the passenger rear pocket.
Could you open up to ensure that those items are contained in the bag?
Yes.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
Mr. Day?
I'm sorry, no objection, Your Honor.
Move to publish, Your Honor.
They'll be admitted. You may publish.
And you said there were 7 of them in there?
There's 7, so 3 are attached. 3 are attached, and 4 are loose.
Ma'am, have you ever been involved with arresting anyone?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been involved in a law enforcement agency where they've used zip ties as essentially backup handcuffs?
I have not, but I know that they do that, yes.
From your experience in the law enforcement world?
Yes.
Ma'am, we had talked about the defendant's red pickup truck. At some point, were you involved with the green pickup truck?
I was.
Were you involved in obtaining tire standards from the various vehicles that were taken from the defendant's property?
Yes.
And is that so that the tire impressions at the scene out on County Road 6 could be compared to the various tires that were on the defendant's vehicle?
That's correct.
Describe to the jury how one obtains a tire standard and what a tire standard is.
So what we do is we need a large flat surface because we're actually pushing the vehicle to roll the standards. So it's more than a one-person process. I believe there were 3 of us obtaining the standards. But what you do is you rub Vaseline on the exterior of the tire, and it's basically simulating the oils when we put our fingerprints down. So we're putting oil on the tire, which is Vaseline, and then we section the tire off. So we take like tire markers or chalk or whatever we have available, and we divide the tire. So with this case, I believe I did A, B, C all the way around the tire. So once the Vaseline is on the tires, you push the vehicle through the whatever surface you're doing. You push the vehicle on it, and as each section touches the paper and deposits the Vaseline, you write which letter originates with that section of the tire. Then all we do is put fingerprint powder on the standards, and it gives us a picture of the tire.
And ma'am, did you do that for all of the defendant's vehicles?
Yes, we did that for the Dodge truck, the Chevy truck, and the motorcycle. There was another vehicle, a Honda, but it was disabled and we couldn't get it to the fire station where we did the standards.
Ma'am, when you're taking the impressions, the standards, do you note the make and model of the tires that are located on each of the vehicles?
We do.
As you sit here, do you happen to recall the make and model of the tires contained on Defendant's green Dodge pickup truck?
I could refer to my report.
You may. Refresh your recollection.
Okay, which vehicle?
We'll start with the green one, ma'am.
Okay, so the Dodge pickup truck, we also note the registration, so it was GMW 7970. The driver's side front and passenger side front tires were Starfire 340s, and the model was P225/75R15. The rear tires of the Dodge pickup truck were both Explorer Kelly steel belted radial tires, M+S P22/75R15.
And do you take tire pressures with those, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And for the Defendant's red pickup truck?
The red pickup truck, the driver's side and passenger side front tire were Starfire 340s, and the rear tires were Uniroyal Liberator A/T.
And ma'am, when you were obtaining the tire standards, did you notice anything on the interior of the green truck that caught your attention, the green pickup truck?
Yes, we found more items of evidence that we collected.
And what were those items?
We found a white rope that was bundled with black electrical tape, and then we found additional black zip ties similar to what we found from the red truck.
Okay, ma'am. I'm going to be handing you what's been marked as exhibits 128, 129, 132, 133, 134, 135, and 136. I ask you to identify those men.
Okay, these are the green Dodge truck.
And you saw it when you were obtaining the tire standards?
That's correct.
And up to that point, they've been kept under lock and key?
Yes.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection. Move number again, I'm sorry.
Sure. 128, 129, 32, 33, 133, 134, 135.
It's 2 and 32335, right?
128. Did I have David and then where I want to bring it from?
If you had that, we would, then no objection to Mr.
They will be admitted. Going to request to publish. That'll be granted.
All right, ma'am, I'm showing you first what's exhibit 128.
So that is the Dodge Dakota pickup truck.
And on the tires,
Yes, that's how I was telling you we section them off, so that makes it easier for our lab to figure out where the standard is compared to where it is on the tire. So I section them tires off with A, B, and C.
okay. And 129, the glossiness of the tire, ma'am?
Yep, that is the Vaseline, so that's what I put on there to basically make a print of them.
132, ma'am.
This is the rear area of the vehicle. So if you look in the center of the photograph, you can see a rope, and it has the black electrical tape bundle in it.
133, ma'am.
If you look directly below the driver's side seat, you can see zip ties sticking out from beneath the seat.
134.
And you can see it again there. It's a close-up photo.
135.
This is the floor mat of the driver's side. If you look directly on the edge of the floor mat, you can see additional zip ties.
And 136, ma'am.
And there is the photograph of the zip ties under the floor mat.
Ma'am, I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 172. If you could take a look at that exhibit, ma'am. And identify what's contained in Exhibit 172.
Well, this is item 2C. So C is the identifier for the Dodge Dakota truck. And it says there are 2 zip ties located in this packaging.
And so those purport to be what is shown currently on State's Exhibit 136.
That's correct, driver's side format.
All right, if you could open it up and confirm that those in fact contained in that bag. Exhibit 172.
Yes, they do.
Move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection to.
It'll be admitted.
And would you please hold those zip ties up for the jury to see?
The other one's similar.
Ma'am, I'm now handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 432. 432. Could you identify this to the jury?
Yes, this is item 2C-14, so C being the green Dodge Dakota truck. It's a zip tie, 2 zip ties, and they're located beneath the driver's seat.
Could you please open that package and confirm that that's what's contained there and then?
Yes, the zip ties are in here.
And move to admit, Your Honor.
No objection.
Ma'am, would you please show those zip ties to the jury? Thank you, ma'am. Your Honor, would you be so kind as to read stipulation number 10?
Exhibit 10 is a photograph of the VIN sticker from defendant's green Dodge pickup truck, which was found at the Worley residence.
Ma'am, is that accurately to show the VIN sticker from the green pickup truck?
It does.
Okay. Ma'am, for the last item, potentially of the morning, Exhibit 430, if you would be so kind as to identify this for the record.
I'm sorry, the exhibit number again?
430.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Okay, this is item 2C-13, so C being the Dodge Dakota. It's a bundle of rope with electrical tape found in the rear of the truck.
If you would be so kind to open up and confirm, ma'am.
Yes, that's the rope.
Move to admit.
No objection to the jury.
All right, ma'am, would you publish that to the jury by showing them what's contained? Exhibit 430. Thank you, ma'am. Do I have to move your phone?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, one more. I apologize, one item. Ma'am, I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 112. Could you just identify this for the jury?
This is item 2I-7. So this is the house. So we're back at the residence. It's a pair of black denim jeans, size 40-30. And these are located in the bedroom.
Could you open them up and confirm that they do in fact contain what they report, ma'am?
Okay, yes, there's jeans in here.
Move to admit, Your Honor. No objection. Ma'am, would you hold those up to the jury? And do they still show the dirt that you saw earlier, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. You put those back into the bag. Well, she's doing it under your control.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to recess for lunch. We will reconvene at 1:15. Remember my prior admonition, you are not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else. Do not form an opinion as to the guilt or innocence of the defendant. Do not allow anyone else to discuss this case with you, along with the other admonition that I have given you. Please recall those. We will reconvene. I would like to have the jurors here by about, let's have you back here at 10 after. We'll reconvene session in court at 1:15. The court will be in recess.